The Quokka at Ascot. We've got two Group 1s at Morpheville, the Sangster and the Oaks. I'm Tom Haylock. This is Laid Back with Betfair. Gentlemen, welcome to you. Liam, how are you, mate?
Very well, thank you, Thomas. Excited. We've left Sydney behind and onto the real state, South Australia. Ooh. We're all excited to get back home for the week, and the Quokka is, as always, something to be excited about.
Going to ask you about your trip in a second, but I'll welcome in Trent from Racing and Sports. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad.
Honestly,
yep.
How are you?
Yep, honestly, good. Fine. No comment.
Trent,
looking forward to it.
Trent went for a quiet dinner last night, and he might be a bit tired today, Liam.
I reckon he's spending his overpass money already. That's what he was doing last night. He's so confident on Saturday's result. That's what he was doing last night at the restaurant.
Just hope you got a stick to keep him awake throughout the show. How was your trip, mate? Good.
Fantastic. Yes. This actually segues to the lay-bin very, very well.
Good. That's radio craft.
There's a lot of backboards over the trip, but those European trains, they are sensational when you're on them. You got yourself a seat, you got your charging points, magnificent time. But sometimes when they overbook them, there would have been 500 seats on this train. It's about a 4-hour journey, and there's at least 1,000 people on there. So you're cramped. There's nowhere to put your luggage.
Yeah, that's bad.
You're standing or sitting in the alleyways. I was trying to watch one of the games of AFL. It was gather round, so it was Saturday. So I thought, a long train trip. I've got footy back to back.
Good.
This is going to be
you got
fantastic.
A pass? Is that what you bought a pass?
Yeah, the Watch AFL thing.
Yeah.
And anyway, so here I am. I end up in the stairwell on this train with everyone just cramping me around. People want to talk. I was like, I don't want anything to do with this, and I'm in the stairwell. So my back gave out, my legs gave out. It's probably tells you how old I'm getting now.
First world problems here.
But very much in the lay-in. Not the trains themselves, they were great, but the train operators.
The overbooking. Where are you travelling to?
I was on my way to Italy from Austria, and it was brutal stuff. That's all I can say.
Sounds awful. Sounds awful. You got a lay-in for us?
No,
good?
Not really. I'm myself in the lay-in, I think, this week. Yeah,
get to bed. That's all right. I just want to put the abandonments in the lay-in. We saw Stall, which was probably the biggest meeting. They were expecting twice the average crowd, and for that to be abandoned heading into Easter Monday with the Stall gift, and Gout was going to be there and present the trophy, and the crowd were ramped up, but then it gets abandoned. Not good enough. Very disappointing, and it's just bad for turnover, bad for racing, and bad for the town as well. So that's disappointing. Gosford, every meeting this feels like this year has been abandoned at Gosford, or they run 2 or 3 races and horses slip. So they've got a Anzac Day meeting on Friday. We should get a market whether that will get raised or the card will get run or not. Canterbury Monday, we had 45 scratchings on a good 4, just too much racing. So pretty poor there. So a few little lay-bins for me as we dissect and head to the Quokka.
This would be interesting, actually. Yeah. We should have some sort of scoreboard of the lay-bins and see how many times Haylock mentions abandonment, scratchings, has a crack at jockeys. I reckon you'll be right up to. I believe I'll probably be up there with public transport of some description as well. But we'll see how we go with creating a scoreboard for next week.
It's a pet hate. We all want to see racing, and you want people to do form, and scratchings are bad for turnover and bad for the punters, and you don't really want to cop deductions. So I think I'm right in saying that's the lay-in. Let's go to the Quokka. Good for at Ascot track. A rail out 3 metres. Good for. Should be a nice day there. 23 degrees. Before I get your both opinions, I had a chat with Terry Leighton, the WA expert, a little bit earlier. This is what he had to say about the Quokka.
Joined by Terry Leighton ahead of a great meeting at Ascot. The Quokka, a couple of other rich races as well. Terry, how are you, mate?
Very well, Tommy. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, good. I'm great. Yeah, we got a couple of minutes to speak to you ahead of the Quokka, get some experts and some intelligence on the show, which is good. The Quokka, overpass. He's done it twice before. He's won the only 2 renditions or runnings of this race. Can he do it again? That's the question I want to ask you off the bat. But then I want to ask you about speed. So where do you want to start with the Quokka, mate?
Well, the answer to that question is yes. I don't think you'll get too many people disagreeing this week. There'll be a few that are tipping head wall. Obviously, you follow your Eastern States for more than I do, Tommy, but a lot of people are saying potentially with Well, I mean, I've seen the race as well, but potentially with even luck, Headwall might have beaten Overpass and the TJ. I'm not sure either way. I think it's a semi-mute argument because of the speed map, as you just alluded to. It's quite incredible how soft this speed map is. You have Overpass, you have Front Page. They're drawn 10 and 11. Doesn't matter if it was 1 or 2 or 20 and 21. They're drawn 10 and 11. Nothing will want to take him on. The connections of Crocetti, who has led in the past or been ridden forward in the past, have said they do not want a bar of the speed. And then you got West Star for Simon Miller, who'll be tickled pink just to park in behind them. So you got two very good front running horses against potentially some lower grade sprinters. I'll say to be as polite as I can. I think they'll run 1-2, and I think there could be a gap between 1 and 2.
So you've got Front Page second in your numbers. So you've got Overpass on top. I actually looked at the map, Terry. I loved it for both those two. I agree. I think the wide barriers help them. Overpass can follow, or Front Page can follow Overpass across. They can take up the running and really control the race. So you see it similarly, which fills me with confidence. Overpass, we're getting about $2 at the corporates. I suspect we'll get about $2.20 at times on the exchange. Is that a price you're keen to take? What price are you willing to take on Overpass?
I'm $1.90 Overpass. It's funny, last night I wrote the preview for you guys, Tommy, and I actually said that the Front Page price for the place was getting out to a more interesting look, but overnight it's actually gone off. I haven't had a cent on yet, so that wasn't me. Don't blame me.
It's usually your money.
So don't blame me for that one. But look, I think if there's a little bit of parochial Western Empire money, all it takes on Betfair, and that's what we love, is a horse to be back from $9s into $6, which we don't like, and it goes from taking 12% of the book to 16, 18% of the book, and suddenly we're getting $2.35, $2.40 Overpass late, and we say, you beauty. But if it trades at $1.80 and Front Page is sort of 12s and 320, 340 or something, and I can sort of bet place heavy, that might be me. But to be honest, if this wasn't the Quokka at the current markets, it's hard to come at anything with too much enthusiasm. But I do like the idea of waiting to see how the market settles late. And hopefully there's a false move for a Western Empire or a Headwall or a Joker's Grin. And then that gives us a price for one of those two.
Terry, very bullish on Overpass and Front Page. Front Page, the place, and Overpass, the win there, all pending price on the exchange, which is a great advertisement for our late mail product. Terry, I want to ask you about the other two features. You've got the Joey worth $200,000 and you've got the Caracatta plate for the 2-year-olds. Do you like anything there in those two feature races?
Yeah, I do. The Caracatta market looks pretty bang on, so not much to discuss there. I thought Talk & Co held Yes Queen really, really well on the line, and my feel is the money late will be heavily for Yes Queen. So I think we might see a late price Talk & Co to have something on, potentially even each way if you're getting even money, because I think those two have just got panels on the rest of the field. So keep an eye on that one. But the race I really want to target for the day is the Joey. I'm really keen on Saloon Bar. It's just been tracking perfectly for this race. Really good at 1,000 run off his legs as expected. Really good at second up at the 1,100. Jumped well, forced back to last. 4 of them cleared out in the race. 3 of them go to the Quokka. Saloon Bar is the only one that goes to obviously the secondary race in the Joey. William Pike sticks, draws better. It's stepping better, so it can land near him. There's not much speed in the race, but the speed's weak, so the speed's going to stop and they're going to finish over the top. $4 plus Saloon Bar. I'm really keen to probably make that my best of the day, and I'm just going to save on Ripcord in that same race, Tommy, just aware that his best is probably better than the rest. It's been a little while since we've seen it.
Race 9 at number 5 there, Saloon Bar for Terry. Very confident there and save maybe the 2 Ripcord. Terry, you've been absolutely on fire the last couple of months in the Betfair app. We can find all your stuff on the Betfair app. If you don't have it, download the app, follow Terry Leighton to get all his mail. You've got your feature race preview as well on the hub and your tips in the app. Terry, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Tommy.
Stay ahead of the game with the most up-to-date betting insights, track conditions and bias, scratchings, late market moves, and more. When it comes to betting, having the most up-to-date information can make all the difference. That's why we've introduced Betfair's Late Mail, the most informed tipping service on the market. Delivered by pros like John Walter, Glenn Ingram, Sean Byrne, and Bella Anderson, Late Mail provides expert insights closer to the jump, helping you adjust your strategy with the latest information and data at your fingertips. Late Mail is exclusive in the Betfair app, so simply open the app, follow Late Mail tipsters, and enable notifications to be ready when our pros send in their late bets. Stay informed, stay ahead, bet smarter with Late Mail. Yes, so Terry, pretty bullish, overpass and front page to place there. He thinks they can confidently run the first two. Liam, how have you seen the race?
Very similar. I thought even money was a bit too short for overpass. I think the horse will win the race. I mean, we don't need to really go over all of it, but 4 from 4 track and distance absolutely finds another leg there. It's extraordinarily unlucky not to win the TJ with Briasa having the perfect sit and just getting him on the line. He's also so tough. Like, he's so hard to get past when he gets to the front there. My only query would be front page in this is going to badger him up top more so than he's probably used to.
Terry kind of disagreed with you on that audio. He thinks that they can control the race. There's not too much speed outside of those two. I love the barriers for them because they can just roll across. You think that the danger is the pressure? The danger is the pressure. I still think Overpass wins the race, but I think it presents an opportunity to lay at the current price of $2. I think we will see close to that 6 to 4, $2.50 mark late in betting.
Give me $2.50.
That's it. And everyone's going to be keen. All the recreational punters will be keen, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that casual drift out from $2 to, I think we'll get close to $2.50 on the day. So it's a later back for Overpass for me.
Ooh, I think he's just bomb-proof. He's such a good horse. He races on speed, takes luck out of the equation, ticks so many boxes. Trent?
Yeah, definitely with Overpass in the Quokka.
What price?
Yeah, I think Black Odds is pretty fair, to be honest. I think if you're getting kind of $2.20 on the day, that's more than reasonable. It's interesting. This will be the shortest that he started in 4 runs in Perth. Winter one last year, $3.20.
Gift.
I think it was a gift, and I think with Racing in Sports, we backed him the whole way through. I think he was $12 in the first Quokka as well, and we backed him there as well. So, he's a bit of a fan favourite. I think he's deserving of a pretty short quote, and like I said, the wide draw I think really suits him. He can just roll along, do his own thing, and get to the middle of the track where he's just so hard to catch. So, yep, Black Odds I'll be taking Overpass. I think he's pretty much the best on the day.
There you go. Anything else to add? Who's the danger?
I think Headwall's probably the danger. He gets the
good in the TJ.
Yeah, he was good in the TJ. He's got to turn the tables on Overpass. He's got a length or so to find there, and I think Overpass probably is maybe going to improve again here. I think he can. He was only first up there in the TJ. He ran to pretty much a career peak, so I think there's every reason to suggest that he's going to be at his absolute top. And when he's on speed as well, he's so hard to catch. Overpass, he does it the right way compared to a horse like Headwall who's going to get back and need luck. So, yep.
Yeah, my only query on that would be Bjorn so frequently sets the horse for the WA championship, right? Like the Winterbottom and the Quokka have been the first up, absolute bombs.
He just on Bjorn, obviously he's flying and everyone knows that, but he sets these horses up for carnivals. Magic Millions he targets and he's the right horse. He just does it time and time again.
And the only slight doubt I would have is, did he set this horse for the TJ? And then obviously knew he was going to go to the Quokka afterwards. Produced a phenomenal performance, but is there a slight regression there? I think there's enough queries to think that we'll get the 250. So
fingers crossed.
See how we go.
I think Overpass wins, and I think front page is the clear danger. I think they can control the race and run 1-2 as Terry kind of saw the race. Let's get to Morphettville. Great day of racing at Morphettville, Liam. You pumped for it?
I mean, I'm always
like
more of a purist for the Sydney racing. That's probably my favourite of the year. And I wouldn't say I've had a great track record over in the carnivals of Adelaide. When they're mixing their form, and then there's a few coming from interstate, I do find that quite difficult. So I'd much prefer when they get up to Sydney, but you'll keep betting through the Adelaide Carnival for sure.
That we will. It's a good day of racing, as I said, and it is hard to line up some of this form with Sydney form, Melbourne form, and all the locals. We kick things off with the Tobin Bronze 1200 metre Group 2 here. I'll throw to you, Trent, to kick things off. It looks a tricky race, and I'm not keen to bet into it. You found anything?
No, not really, to be honest. I kind of thought that there was not really a whole lot on the ratings between the first sort of, Imperial Force, Reserve Bank, Tropicus, even Winner's Edge and Gallant Sun. There's not much between them all. Maybe the one that I could entertain would be Winner's Edge at double figures, but to me, this just seemed like a race with a handful of chances, and that I'm not really keen to play into.
Yep. Liam, you seem to have Imperial Force and Tropics on top, but how do you find the race in terms of a betting perspective?
Yeah, struggling to find a bet early. If Imperial Force was drift out to that 450 range, hits the front, and was really tough in that Arrowfield, if it's able to reproduce that Arrowfield rating, then he's a bet, but that's such a spike on previous performances. It's hard to have any confidence going in there. So Imperial Force is on top for me, but not a bet currently. Tropicus is the other one that I could certainly entertain. Was really nice first coming into this first half, some really nice jump outs, and then the ratings back in February, I think it was a Sedative that he won that day, would be really competitive here. We're getting $6.50. The horse looks to have come up really well, so could certainly entertain Tropicus, but no bet early for me in this one.
Would there be anything from the market that you would entice you to bet here, a drift or a firm on something? Maybe use the bet for intelligence.
If Tropicus was backed pretty heavily late, I'd rather take the $5 there on the strengthening of the market rather than take $6.50 now. But it's a pretty tough betting race.
Good insight. That's all right. Let's get to race 6, the Queen of the South, 1600 metre Group 2 for the fillies and mares. I'm with Miss Aria here each way, and I think you agree, Liam.
Yeah, this is an extraordinary price. I can't believe we're getting $7.50. I got this marked pretty heavy favourite, around about the $4 mark. She's got the best body of ratings of any of the horses coming into this, and then did everything bar win last start in the Victoria Handicap. When, I think Coffey was on board, he would have thought he had the race shot to pieces, and then Nicolini Vito it was that just got him on the line. That rating is over a length clear of anything that's in this race has reduced in their last 7 starts, and we've drawn barrier 6. We've got the perfect run in transit. I think everyone seems to be potting this horse getting out to the mile. She's been there once. She ran a nose to Zadaki in that Sunshine Coast Guineas. I think it's terrific form, and we're getting $2.80 a place, $7.50 to win. I think it's a terrific each way play and one of the best on the day.
Can't have much more. She just meets them so well at the weights. She beat Sione, Lady in Pink in a Group 3, April 5 it was. Meets them better at the weights for beating them home. Just looks a lovely setup for Miss Aria. Is the mile a query at all?
Literally, as I said, been there once and was a nose off Zadaki winning a group race. No. I can't imagine that being the query that means we get $7.50 when we've got a mark a lot closer to $4.
Yep. I think you're bullish, Miss Aria. Got her around the mark as well?
Yeah, I think she should be shorter as well. I think, the $7.50 is too big. This campaign, they've kind of tried to get her to be a bit of a sprinter. She's been running over 1,100 metres, getting too far back and hitting the line off these slow tempos. Now last start got to 1,400 metres, really went to a new level. So I don't think the 16 again here is going to be an issue for her. I think she can settle midfield from the good gate as well. So yeah, keen to be with her. And I think Zlotys is the danger. She's the one with the upside off that win at Bendigo last start. I think they're the two clearly on top. And I'd be almost a little bit surprised if anything else won. So Miss Aria, the bet for me, and I think I'll be saving Zlotys, just a little bit scared of her upside.
Very good. To play for Trent. Now we get to the layback list. Something a little bit different from you, Liam. You're standing up. You've had plenty of time on holidays to think about this, and you're a local Adelaide boy. Your top South Australian wins. I was keen to hear your favourite South Australian horses. We might get to that one day as well, but what are your best? Maybe start from 4, or you got 5? What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, there was going to be 5, but
I just saw the note here.
I refused to put Black Caviar's win in the Robert Sangster in because the race caller was very me, and I hated the way it went down. Even though it was a 4.5 length victory.
After that race?
It's a very good. I mean, that's a good case study in itself. But I'll let you chase that one down. But we'll start with number 4 on the list. It was the 2015 Robert Sangster. Obviously, the Sangster this weekend. Miracles of Life was her final ever start on the racetrack. A great story. It was I think Lauren Stojakovic or something like that. She rode this horse all the way through from the first maiden win, and then got the Group 1 victory in the Blue Diamond, undefeated from 4 starts. And there's a great call on this one as well if you go back and watch it.
Going with it on the outside, Gregor's Miracles of Life late. In front, Gregor's near the line. Miracles of Life dive, got up! The point-size mare got up.
And they call her the point-size mare because she was a tiny little thing. And it was great to see her go through. The 3-year-old season was a bit of a struggle, and then got back into form as she turned 5 and as she turned 4, and then won this as her last start on the racetrack and went into retirement there. But fantastic race that was.
Incredible, because she was pint-sized and no one thought she'd get beyond a 2-year-old season and to come out and win that when you said she was 5 when she won that, was she?
4, I think. And 4, put her nose down on the line, get past the likes of Gregor. So that was a great victory.
Yep.
Number 3, we're going to go to the 2018 Goodwood.
One of my favourite horses.
Well, it's funny you say that. This is very much the Group 1 punter's horse, this one. And the BSP was an absolute star for this horse throughout his career. But Santa Ana Lane was $30 winner in this, the Goodwood. Didn't even get called until the final 2 strides, ducked back into the inside.
Super Cash trying to squeeze through. Flamberge led. Here's Santa Ana Lane. Santa Ana Lane through on the inside. Santa Ana Lane wins the Darley Goodwood. Beats Miss Rock second for the second consecutive year.
And hit the line
Have
strongly.
a couple of bucks on, did you?
I did not have anything on that day. I was continuously taking this horse on. But I learnt my lesson later in its career. What was it? It's $30 in the Goodwood and the Rupert Clark. Rupert Clark was the first Group 1 victory for the horse.
You ran second in an Everest, Santa?
I don't know if it was second.
Maybe
TJ?
Yeah, he won a TJ by 3.5 lengths and
That's
and went to Hong Kong and started short price favourite and got rolled. But yeah, the TJ win was awesome. That one,
That was incredible.
It was a
down
dominant
the
win.
middle.
And the TJ, that was smoked it. It was $8.
Yeah,
it was $15 in the win in the Stradbroke and $11 when it won the VRC Sprint. It was a fill up for all punters except me.
Imagine owning that horse.
Yeah, it would have been a lot of fun. And judging by some of the footage I rewatched last night, they didn't mind celebrating. Number 2, which really should be number 1.
Oh, I love this. This is good from you.
Well, I mean, obviously number 1 holds a spot for a reason, but number 2, I went to Oakbank Racecourse every year of my life over the Easter Carnival until I was in my mid-20s. And the 2021 Von Duser Steeplechase was one of the best I ever saw at Oakbank. You got a horse called ZM, who was an absolute star jumper, went through the Warrnambool Carnival as well. So the Von Duser is run on the Saturday, Easter Saturday, over the 3200 on the jumps. They go over the fallen log at the back of Oakbank, over the hill. Fantastic.
How good was it?
I can't talk about it. I still get very sad.
You stand a metre away from the horses jumping over and they're brushing the fence. It was amazing.
And that's the Saturday. And then the Easter Monday, they come back and they run in the Great Eastern, which is over about 4,800. And they do about 16 laps of the track. Not really, but close to. And anyway, so ZM in 2018, 2019 did the double. So the Saturday into the Monday and just ran them all into the ground. There was this great horse Spying on You that just kept running second to ZM, the poor thing. Anyway, so ZM was just everyone's favourite horse every time you went to Oakbank because everyone filled up the year before, etc. And then ZM had 70 kilos in 2021, $2.40 shot, which was more than reasonable. And then there was this UK import for Mara and Eustace that came over, and Pateman had decided to jump on Yen Sir. And it was 68 kilos, so I had a little bit of relief there, and that was $2.80. And then, write your own ticket the rest. And they're coming over the back slope for the last one. They're coming down the hill, and they've still got. I hope our producer Harry actually does some work and gets the footage up from this. And he's going down the hill, and they break away just before the final steeple, and then they start coming down the straight, and then Luke's. It's Yen Sir on the outside, ZM the inside, stride for stride, shoulder to shoulder. These two great steeplers, ZM, the crowd are hanging over the fence. They've got the fresh ice cold beers and the Eskies that they brought on the track and having a great time. There's Ferris wheels in the middle of the track. They're empty because everyone's watching this race. And then Yen Sir just gets the nod by half a nose, and it's 14 lengths back to third. It still makes the hairs on my arms stand up. It was so good. But that Oakbank Carnival over the Easter campaign was so special for many, many years before they dropped it in the last few years. But it really should be number 1, the Von Duser. But of course,
what have we got?
Black Caviar sits there in the 2012 Goodwood, number 21 out of the 25 race streak. And was called the equine superstar of the world as she crossed the line. And it was hard not to have that number 1.
Down the outside, We're Gonna Rock's coming home well. Black Caviar 2 in front. We're Gonna Rock's up to second. Sterling Grove goes to third. He hasn't moved on Black Caviar. Black Caviar, the equine superstar of the world. And that's 21 today. Won by a length and a half. We're Gonna Rock was gallant. What a great run.
The crowd she drew at Morphettville as well. Incredible scene. So that's a good effort. Anything to add, Trent? Yeah, how'd you go? Out of 10?
No, very solid. I love that. That was kind of Bruce McAvaney like that recollection of the Von Duser. It was like you said, the hairs on your arm kind of standing up thing. That was beautiful.
Yes, Harry better get the footage up for that. I can't wait to check that out. All right, let's move on. Continuing the South Australian trend, the Australasian Oaks. 2,000 metres, Group 1, as I mentioned. What did you make of the speed here? Two Down Lizzie just rolls forward and tries to hang on, Liam?
Yeah, Two Down Lizzie to hit the front in her typical fashion. I thought Cinch might actually try and push forward from out wide, building a pretty nice record, that horse. The great Tasmanian Oaks win, and then came over and has found victory already in SA and settled in. Has to improve an extra couple of lengths even from that win to be competitive here. But for me, there's only one horse to talk about here, and that's Bennegill. I think the Vinery one behind Treasure the Moment was too hard to ignore. Like, it gave Treasure the Moment an absolute star of the track. You know, talked about in the best couple of horses we have in the country right now. And Bennegill gave it a serious race, and then there was a decent gap back to third there. She continues to improve her rating each and every start, so he's on that upward trajectory, which I really like finding in a race like this. And we already know that she's going to get the 2,000 really strongly. I don't think the draw's too much of an issue. It's a horse that tends to get back in the field anyway and try and find some cover. So I think that in turn makes Two Down Lizzie the biggest danger if it gets a soft lead out in front. So Benegill's one of the best of the day here. I think we're getting a really good price at 440 currently. And the one I'll be laying in the race is Moving Out, which has the Waller polish and went to Mornington and won really well coming from the back. But from a rating standpoint, she's far too short. And I've got to mark double figures, so going to have to oppose her there at the $5 we're getting early.
Two things I want to ask you. Two Down Lizzie beat home Bennegill in the Armanasco, meets 2.5 kilos better. You're just putting that down to Bennegill not trying, not a grand final.
Not so much, just continuous improvement, I think. And Two Down Lizzie can mix its form a little bit, whereas Bennegill, I think, is really starting to hit its peak now.
Yeah, that was over 1,400 metres. The other one was, the reason why I can't risk moving out too much is actually started shorter than Bennegill last start in the Vinery Stud. It was awful. Got beaten a long way, obviously excuses, but that SP profile just scares me a little bit.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Two Down Lizzie and Bennegill both have run second to Treasure in the Moment, one by 4 lengths, one by a length and a touch. And the movement out, I think that's a little bit different there because that's a horse with the Waller polish coming over without too much form that we can all have any confidence in, and the ratings aren't there just yet. So I think the market always tends to keep them pretty safe in those conditions. And we know a lot more since that moment. So I think, yes, you can take that as, expected ratings from BSP is a very efficient way to do the form. But I think we know a bit more since then that I think when we're getting $4.40 versus $5, that seems pretty crazy to me.
Yep, Barry one scary as well for moving out. Trent, you jumped on the message group as soon as we talked about this race off air and said, gee, I'm bullish about this race. I'm keen to dive into a couple at long odds. And I'm fascinated by that stance because I found it a very hard race, but you are keen to back a couple here. What are they?
Yeah, the first one's Polyminia, who comes through, brings that Sydney form as well, slightly different form through the Adrian Knox. Was heavily back there, started $2.70, got a long way back. I really love those late splits. It wasn't a strongly run race, but I really love those late splits. She was, climbing all over the top of them late. I thought the sectional mark up there suggested that she's right up to winning a race like this. Compared to, I think if you put her in the Vinery, I think she would have done something similar to what Bennegill had done in that similar race shape, that slowly run race of the Vinery as well. So, yeah, I think she is very up to winning this. Like that, she's had the run at 2,000 meters. Gets Jamie Mellom on board, wide draw. So, you're probably going to be back there. But I think, she is one of the horses to beat. Bennegill, I've kind of got as an equal favourite with her. I don't think there's a whole lot between them. Two Down Lizzie's the one I'm really against. I don't think she'll run 2,000 meters, which is scary when it's Waterhouse and Bott.
I was going to say, I love Waterhouse and Bott up in distance.
It's very scary. She's had that mid-prepper trial as well that she won. But
who's that 2-year-old filly of theirs that in the yellow that everyone didn't think could get up to the 1,400 metres, and it went Camelot. Yeah. Everyone, and it just didn't look like it could run 14.
And
then steps up in trip, and they just somehow get them to stay.
Yeah, it is scary. But I think she's had every chance to run out. The 1-2 back at Flemington behind Treasure of the Moment, I think that's a really good piece of form, stuck on well there. I was a little bit disappointed last start at Moonee Valley, beaten by a Chiller Cap. I don't think that's very strong form. I'd have to be a query on her at 2,000 metres. And the other one at bigger odds that I'm going to be playing is number 6, Feminile, for the Philip Stokes yard. Third up here, 2 runs at 1800 meters, did nothing first up. Second up in the key local lead up, won by Cinch. I thought she hit the line well there. Getting to 2000 meters, I think she can be a big improver. So she's, 50 to 1 or thereabouts. She's probably going to start bigger than that Betfair starting price, I would have thought, with the market percentage and those roughies that we get at Betfair. So yeah, she's the one that I'll play something small each way at bigger odds.
Lovely, mate. Love that. Preliminary on top for you and a bit of value there as well. Let's get to the feature. The Sangster, the Group 1, 1200 metres for the fillies and mares. Great race. Trent, we'll go to you. Do you have the speed map at handy, or do you want to throw to Liam for the speed?
Yeah, we'll let Liam go over the speed map here. He's got a few big opinions in this race.
Tricky.
Yeah, I found this really, really hard to predict this. I still think Australia needs to go forward if there are any sort of chance. It's a bizarre tactic that they've used that hasn't seemed to work.
And can find the front easily enough here.
It has the pace, absolutely. Yeah. And from barrier 2, won't have to spend a lot of petrol. So I would envisage Australia going forward unless there's anything else that's come out about that. Aviatrix to sit much closer this time from barrier 6, probably sits midfield. As far as an interesting one, drawn really wide, I think that barrier really hurts the horse because the 1200's a query. So pushing forward on somewhat of a hot speed is going to be really difficult for the horse. So it really needs it to be a slowly run race to push forward from there. If any chance, all the other main chances are going to sit back in the race. I think your Commemoratives, your Stretton Angels, Climbing Star can probably sit midfield. But yeah, pretty difficult race to predict on paper.
This is one of my better betting races of the day, and I think you're just reading your notes here. See it similarly. I can't possibly have Asphira laying win in place. 1200 metres is a concern. Now, you've got Asphira, Climbing Star, Prairie Flower, Aviatrix coming through that Irwin Stakes. Asphira won that race, had every possible chance. Mapped perfectly there. It was an incredibly slow race. They went 14.4 lengths slower than class benchmark to the 600. I loved the run of Aviatrix. Now, it was 1200 back to 1100 metres first up to second up with this main aim in mind. It started favourite there, so had the SP profile over Climbing Star and Asphira, and ran a really good race. I thought through the line was fantastic, and I didn't think they were there to win and just probably out-sprinted at the 1100 metres. Back up to 1200 metres with that SP profile. I couldn't possibly work out how it was 17. I'm betting $17, $18. It's firmed a little bit overnight, but incredible price when it's 3 times the price of Climbing Star, and it was half the price of Climbing Star last start. So couldn't work that out at all. And for that reason, I think Aviatrix is the bet from that lead up. You agree?
Yes, I have Aviatrix my favourite in the race. So
yeah,
absolutely. So everything you said, if you go back and take a line through the Matrice Stakes or even the Caulfield win last preparation, she comes out, pretty decent favourite ahead of the likes of Climbing Star and Stretton Angel. So, and there seems to be a fair bit of sentiment along the same lines that I've read and heard so far. So I can't imagine that $16 currently holds up. I wouldn't be surprised to see that horse get into single figures by the time the race jumps.
I've got it marked about $6.50.
$8 here. Yep.
Yeah, Climbing Star, probably a bit longer, to be honest. Climbing Star, longer than it. Asphira couldn't possibly have in single figures. So, yeah, I'm pretty bullish on Aviatrix. The other two that I want back is Amina. Now, I love this trial win at Caulfield Heath the other day. Was leading, showed intent there. Just X Factor, really good horse on her day. She probably didn't have the right circumstances in a couple of races last campaign, but I'm scared stiff. I thought she was a bet around that $18, $19, and I got commemorative mark favourite. Like the barrier, big mare, like the form line. So, Aviatrix and Amina, really good bets for me, and commemorative, I won't be losing if she wins either. You backing Aviatrix, but you got a couple of others as well, Liam.
Yeah, keen to find a few at odds. So Aviatrix main bet. There's also that Caulfield win gave a Little Deep absolute wind burn going past it, and a Little Deep's come back really, really well. Strong first up win, and had a really big career peak rating second up last prep. So I think you could do a little bit of creative accounting and boost that first up rating here. She comes a really nice bet at the $14 mark. So I'll also back a Little Deep. And the third one that I will touch on very, very quickly is a 3-year-old filly in the race, Jasmine Rouge. It's only her 4th start. Really good first prep, and then 4th at Flemington behind Alabama Lass over the 1100. That was a really nice 4th, hitting the line really strongly, looking like that 1200's only going to be a better spot for her. she needs to improve about a length and a half on that run, and having such a little base, I think she actually can do that. And we're getting $34 now. I wouldn't be surprised if we get even bigger on the day. So make sure that she'll be going in the quaddie and having a decent bet on it too.
And you keen to be against Asfura and Charmstar?
Asfura, the main one. Charmstar has really firmed this morning into $8.50 to almost equals second elect. I can't have it anywhere near that. So Asfura and Charmstone will be laying win and place, but pretty happy to lay pretty much everything in single figures here.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Trent, you seem to be going with a Goodwood form from last year. They Stretton Angel beat home Climbing Star in that race. Just wanted to mention as well, Climbing Star, Estrella, Stretton Angel ran in this race last year. Climbing Star obviously won it, beat home Estrella, who had an SP of $2.80, remarkably, there in this race last year, and Stretton Angel ran sixth. But
Lucky
you are
Nidos first Group 1 up.
It was.
Cracking run.
Was that tempting to be in your top 4 or 5 wins? No, nowhere near. All right, you're with the Goodwood form last year.
Yeah, I think I'm with the class mares in this race, to be honest. I think Climbing Star and Stretton Angel boast the best career peak ratings. They've run in those Group 1s. I thought Climbing Star, I take your point about Aviatrix coming back to 1,100 metres in that race last start and did start favourite, but I thought if you ignore that and face value their runs, Climbing Star was a much better run. She came from a mile back off that slow tempo. The sectionals there were huge. She's going to be better suited getting to 1,200 metres, like I said, won this race last year. So, yeah, I think she's the deserved favourite. And Stretton Angel is just flying this time in. You know, she's run second in a Lightning, third in a Newmarket to Jolie Star. And then last start, you know, you can forgive that run in the William Reid just on that horrible Moonee Valley track where she got back. So
yeah, it's still a bloody good effort.
And it was still, and she still ran fourth, you know, beaten 4.5. I think it's a fine run for what the track was that day. So yeah, I think they're the two class mares in the race. And I think the others will have to improve to be beating them. Yeah, I think they're kind of the ones that I'm looking to play on top. And yeah, I think the one thing we can all agree on is that Asfura is probably the whole. I think, you know, her King Stand win or whatever it was in Royal Ascot obviously would win this, but yeah, she had every favour in that one first up, and 1,200 metres from the wide draws just looks very tricky for her. So I'd be laying her the place as well.
Consensus bet laying us for a win and place there. Stretton Angel yet to win. I know she's run some good races over 1,200 metres. Yet to win from 8 starts over 1,200, which is interesting on face value. But you delved down, obviously ran third in a Newmarket and ran some good races over 1,200 metres. But I just found that interesting, Trent.
Yeah, I mean, she hasn't done a whole lot of winning at all, really. She hasn't won in a while.
Just racing pattern?
It is probably racing pattern more than anything. Yeah, but I think 1,200 metres is fine for her. She's run, you know, equal career peaks at 1,200 metres with racing in sport. So I'm more looking at the rating rather than the race that she's necessarily won or lost at 1,200.
Very good. Time for the Hamburger Club. I'm going to have a hamburger with, I might have a meal deal. I might have a couple of burgers here and some chips and a milkshake and dive right in. I'm very keen on the Group 1 Sangster, and I'm very keen Aviatrix, Amina and Commemorative to win and laying a few favourites like us for a win and place, and I'll lay Climbing Star to win as well. So that's my hamburger, just a full meal deal for me. Liam?
Yeah, got to go to the Oaks. Bennegill, the win, $4.20. Lock that in now. I think it's a great price. And laying Waller's moving out at the $5 mark.
Love that. Trent, you're in the Oaks as well.
Yeah, I am in the Oaks as well.
2 different horses.
Yeah, I am. So
interesting.
Surely one of us gets a result there. We can claim it as a team effort. But yeah, I'll be backing Polyminia to win the Oaks, and very scared of doing so, but I just can't have Two Darn Lizzie at 2,000 metres, so I'm going to be laying her.
So if Two Darn Lizzie and moving out run the Quinella here, you guys aren't coming back.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Offer an extended winter break.
Correct. Best bets, Trent, over to you.
Yeah, I'm going back to the Quokka that we touched on at the start of the show. I think Overpass will just win this again and beat them again, so anything black odds is a fair price for him.
Trent, sorry, Liam.
Miss Aria each way, just an outstanding bet. And as mentioned, Bennegill.
Don't mind Miss Aria myself. Overpass for me, very hard to beat. And I'm pretty keen. Aviatrix was just a bet, $5 to place and $17 a win. You might find a first five market or something like that at Betfair for Aviatrix as well. If you can get $2 or $3, $2.50, $3 around in the first 4 market. Great betting. That's what we've got time for. Gents, it's been a pleasure. What do we got next week? Where are we?
Goodie?
Derby?
Yeah, Derby.
Oh,
Derby.
Yeah,
it'll be good. Another good meeting. So hopefully you two jump back on if moving out and Two Darn Lizzie don't run the Quinella. Been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us on Layback with Betfair. Hello, Betfair punters. We're excited to introduce a new feature on the Betfair app, Follow Tipsters. This feature will allow you to follow your favourite Betfair experts and receive notifications when their betting strategies go live. By clicking follow and enabling notifications, you'll never miss a tip from pros like Terry Leighton, Mitch Lewis, Jackson Oldham and Bella Anderson. All exclusive in the Betfair app, so download and get started.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.